So how do you reach your audience? Well, the first thing to do is to produce the work. You actually have to make stuff. And as part of producing the work, you'll probably be participating in exhibitions and commissions or other art events. This allows you to not only continue the relationships that you've currently got, but potentially expand your network as new and different people see your work in various contexts. You can also reach your audience through social media. This takes consistency in posting. You can't disappear for months or years at a time and expect to get much out of your social media accounts. It also takes consistency in engagement. Doing the digital equivalent of being the introverted artist who hides in her studio isn't going to be as effective a way of reaching a broader audience as interacting with people. Engaging with other artists you're interested in is a way to broaden your audience. Do know that while social media can be really effective, it also takes time. A slow and steady approach is more likely to pay off than going in fits and starts. Cold calls are another way that you can reach an audience, even if you're not actually calling them on the phone. Any unsolicited proposal that you send out will count as a cold call. We've talked a little bit about cold calls this semester, specifically in the gallery module, when we were talking about how to make those calls a little less cold. Cold calls are not a lot of fun. They're necessary, but they are inefficient. You're unlikely to get instant results or even frequent acceptance. They are inefficient, but one of the few ways we have to expand our audience across time and distance. You can help your success rate by doing the research, finding opportunities for which you would actually be a really good fit. But again, that takes lots of time and doesn't necessarily guarantee positive results, which means that you're going to have to send out a large volume of applications, solicitations, or other forms of contact. This requires a lot of discipline, not only to keep going in the face of rejection, or even worse, silence, but also to keep track of what you've sent where, or what you might have asked for. One thing that I've seen successful artists do is to send out so many applications that the only way that they can keep track of them is by having a list. So many applications that when you get a rejection in the mail, you almost have to look it up to figure out what you even sent that person. You'll get a lot of rejections, but every now and then, something will come through. An email newsletter is a method for maintaining contact with and expanding your audience that I've seen work really well for a number of artists. For the assignment in this module, we're going to be preparing yourselves to send out an email newsletter. You'll start developing your contacts list in 2 assignments. In the first, you'll collect your core audience so that you have their contact information all in one place. And then we'll expand it to what we might call an aspirational contacts list, where you have the contacts information for people who don't know your work yet, but should, because you'd be a really good fit for the gallery, foundation, or magazine they work for. What are you going to do with this? Well, eventually you're going to want to send them emails, probably in the form of a newsletter, perhaps quarterly, perhaps monthly, but some way of maintaining those loose ties or introducing your work to new people. You'll want to use a service, 1, to make the email really pretty, and 2, to keep track of who's subscribed and who unsubscribes from your list. There are lots of services on the internet that can help you with this. The 2 I see the most are MailChimp and Constant Contact. MailChimp in particular is popular with artists because their service is free until your list gets to a certain size. You do want to grow that list by having a sign-up form on your website, networking both through social media and when you meet people in the real world. Whenever you meet someone or work with them, get used to asking the simple question, "Can I add you to my email list?" There are ethical issues involved, especially with those kinds of individuals who are going to be on your aspirational contacts list. Is it cool for you to add the email of every board member on the Museum of Contemporary Art Denver's advisory board to your email list? Probably not. Certainly, you are under legal requirement to make sure that you aren't spamming them and that they have an opportunity to unsubscribe. Another reason to use MailChimp to help you with the logistics of your email list. At the same time, if they open your email and like looking at it, then it's not spam. Digital marketing involves a certain amount of gray area, and if it feels icky, don't do it. But I will say that it's been my experience that artists are usually too reticent to promote themselves rather than being too aggressive. If you do create an email newsletter, You want to make sure that you're consistent with it. Decide in advance how frequently you're going to send it out. Research indicates that having a regular schedule works better than only sending it out when you have a specific thing you want to promote. The idea is that you want to be in conversation with the people in your audience rather than exclusively promoting. Use lots of images, that's why they're interested in you as an artist, and come at it from the perspective that you're sharing, not just selling. Lots of people want to know about how you're making your work and the new directions that you might be exploring. Digital marketing experts say that you should always include a call to action, a thing that you're asking them to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving them the hard sell. The call to action could be inviting them to follow you on Instagram. It could be asking them to come to your show. And yes, of course, it could be asking them to buy lots of art. When you include a call to action, make sure that you have a system in place that can facilitate them following through. Asking them to follow your Instagram account could be as easy as including a link in the newsletter. And if you're going to ask them to buy art, make sure that they can seamlessly purchase things on your website. Many artists are hesitant to do anything that feels like self-promotion. But the fact is, the work can't speak for itself. And that might be the key concept that helps you to promote your work. It's not that you're bragging about yourself, it's that you're advocating on behalf of the artwork. If you don't nurture an audience for the work, it's unlikely anybody else will. You've worked so hard to make the art, doesn't it deserve to have someone who can let people know about it?